All right. Welcome back, everyone. We're ready for another deep dive, and this one's going to be exciting.
Yeah, should be fun.
It's all about the psychology of money, right?
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at, we're going to be kind of dissecting 12 key principles from this really cool text. It's called Kidvand Kin von Kan Kintin.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, it's not just about, like the strategies and stuff, like how to get rich. It's like, how do we actually think about money? How do our emotions and all that play into our money choices?
That's so interesting. And yeah, I think this is going to be useful for just about everyone listening, no matter where you're at financially. Like this stuff, it applies to everyone, right?
Totally.
Okay, so let's just jump right in, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so principle number one, it kind of hits you right off the bat.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. So, like, does that mean, I mean, are all those financial gurus, those get-rich-quick schemes, are they all just kind of bogus? Like, what do we do with that?
Well, I wouldn't say all of it's bogus, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
there's some good stuff out there, but I think the point is you can't just take someone else's plan and expect it to work for you. You got to figure out what works for you, like your own risk tolerance, your goals, even your personality plays into it,
mhm.
right? Like someone who's really cautious, they're probably not going to be comfortable with like a super high risk investment, even if it's made other people a ton of money.
Right, right. It's got to be tailored to you. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So this next one, principle two, is kind of interesting. It says luck plays a role. So does that mean we should all just go buy lottery tickets now? What's going on with that one?
Huh, no, 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 not exactly. I mean, it's true. Sometimes unexpected things happen, good or bad, and they affect our finances. Like, you can't always control everything, but you can't just rely on luck either, right?
Right.
It's more like luck might, kind of open a door for you, but you still got to be the one to walk through it, put in the work, make smart decisions. Those are the things that really build long-term financial well-being, not just luck.
Okay, so you got to be prepared to take advantage of those lucky breaks when they come along.
Exactly.
But how much is enough, right? I mean, when do we know we've reached that point where we're financially satisfied? That's this next principle. Principle three is all about the enough point. So is there like a magic number?
I wish there was a magic number we could just tell everyone, but
Hmm.
honestly, it's not about a specific number. It's more about figuring out what enough means for you personally.
Right.
It's challenging that whole idea that more is always better. I mean, let's be real. Sometimes we get caught up in that, just chasing the next financial milestone, and we never actually feel content.
Yeah, you're constantly striving, right?
Exactly. It's like a hamster wheel.
Always reaching for the next thing. Okay, so let's get a little bit practical here. Principle four, start early and reinvest. This is all about the power of compounding, right?
Oh, yeah, this is a big one. Compounding it's almost like magic, honestly. Even small amounts, if you invest them consistently over time, they can grow into something pretty amazing. Like, imagine, right? You start investing just 50 bucks a week when you're 20. By the time you retire, you could have like over $1 million.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah, assuming, a reasonable rate of return, but yeah, it's powerful stuff. Starting early gives your money that time to grow exponentially.
That's incredible. Time is definitely on your side when it comes to investing.
It really is.
Speaking of time, how do we deal with those ups and downs? I mean, the market, it's not always smooth sailing. Principle five talks about winning and losing, and I think anyone who's ever invested, they know what that feels like.
Oh, for sure. This principle is all about finding that balance between, minimizing your losses and then also taking advantage of opportunities. You got to be smart about it,
Yeah.
right? Recognizing that investing, there's always going to be some risk involved, but that risk can also lead to some big rewards if you're strategic.
So it's not about avoiding risk altogether.
No, not at all.
It's about managing it.
Exactly.
All right. So this next one, principle six, this one really got me thinking. It's called true freedom. And it asks, like, is financial freedom really just about having tons of money? What do you think?
I think it's so much deeper than that. This principle is making us think about freedom in a broader sense, right?
Yeah.
It's about having the resources to live the life that you want, a life that aligns with your values. Maybe that means spending more time with family, pursuing your hobbies, or just having the flexibility to make choices without always worrying about money.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like having the freedom to design your own life, that resonates with me.
Definitely.
Okay, so this leads us nicely into principle seven, which is invisible wealth. So are we talking about being like a secret millionaire here?
Haha. Not necessarily. It's more about shifting our focus,
Mm.
right? Instead of focusing on those outward displays of wealth, those flashy things, it's about cultivating a more internal sense of security. It's about knowing you have the resources to deal with whatever life throws at you, to pursue your goals, without constantly stressing about money. It's about that inner peace that comes from having a solid financial foundation.
It's about that feeling of security, knowing you're covered.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, speaking of security, Principle 8 gets pretty practical.
Yeah.
It's all about controlling expenses. Now, this is something we can all work on, right? I know I can.
Absolutely. It can be tough to drastically increase your income sometimes, but we usually have a lot more control over our expenses, right? It's
Yeah.
about understanding our spending habits, like where's our money actually going, creating a budget, sticking to it, and just making more mindful choices about where we spend our money.
Being intentional with our spending,
Yeah.
not letting it just slip away. And of course, a big part of that is saving, which is what Principle 9 really emphasizes. So is there like a magic percentage, of our income that we should all be saving?
I wish it was that easy. There's really no one-size-fits-all answer to that, unfortunately. But the main takeaway is that consistent saving, even if it's a small amount, is just crucial for building wealth. Think of it like you're paying yourself first. Even if you just start with putting aside 5% of your income, that habit can set you up for long-term success.
It's about building that habit,
Absolutely.
consistency.
Yeah.
All right, so what happens when, life throws us a curveball? Because it's going to happen, right? Principle 10 is all about having a backup plan.
Yeah, you gotta be ready for those unexpected things, right? Life is full of surprises, and not all of them are good ones. This principle is reminding us to be prepared for those tough times. Maybe that means having an emergency fund, that you can dip into if something comes up, or making sure you have enough insurance, or even having a plan B for your career, just in case.
It's like having a safety net, right? Just in case things go wrong.
Exactly.
All right, so Principle 11, different games. This one really made me think about where we get our financial advice from. Like, does it actually matter who's giving us the advice?
It matters a lot. This principle is basically saying, make sure you're getting advice from people whose goals and strategies match up with your own. Like the advice that you would give to a day trader, someone who's in the market every single day, is going to be totally different from the advice you'd give to someone who's, planning for retirement 30 years down the line.
It's like getting fitness advice from a marathon runner versus a weightlifter.
Exactly.
Totally different games.
Totally.
Okay, and finally, Principle 12. This one reminds us that goals change. I mean, how many of us are still doing what we thought we'd be doing when we were kids?
Right, things change. And this principle is all about recognizing that and making sure that our financial goals are changing along with us. Like what was super important to us 5 years ago, it might not be such a big deal now. So we got to be flexible, willing to adapt our plans as our needs and aspirations change.
It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
No, you got to keep reassessing, making sure your finances are still working for you.
All right, so we covered a lot of ground here. These 12 principles, I mean, there's so much to think about. What really stood out to you?
For me, I think what resonated the most was that idea of aligning your finances with your values, figuring out what enough really means to you. It's not just about the money itself, it's about using it as a tool to build the life you want, a fulfilling life.
I love that. And I think that's the beauty of these principles. They're not just about managing money, they're about managing your life. And hey, if any of these ideas spark something for you, go check out Jen do some more digging.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into money psychology, everyone. And remember, it's never too late to start making choices that'll lead you to a more fulfilling and financially free life.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See ya.